There is something powerful and special and personalized when you get something sent to you in the mail. This is why all of us love that Amazon package. We love opening it. But now let's think about this from a business standpoint. Imagine if you could have that Amazon package feel to each of your prospects. Well, on today's episode, my guest, her name is Chelsea Martin. She is the co-founder of a company called Gnome. They do exactly that every single day. Listen how. Hey, everyone. Welcome to another great episode of the Sales Evangelist podcast here on YouTube on TSE TV. I am your host, Donald Kelly, the Sales Evangelist. And I'm so excited for another great episode. I'm so excited to be here with you today. And today, we got Chelsea Martin. She coming from the company named Gnome. And they're going to tell us how we could do some corporate gifting and help our clients stand out. Listen, man, I'm having so much fun. And this episode with Chelsea is awesome. As I mentioned, she's a co-founder of a company called Gnome, and they're the leading expert in corporate gifting. Today, she's going to give us some insights, some ideas, how we can take advantage of the snail mail, the physical mail, and how this can help us increase sales. And listen, she's going to talk about some of the things they're sending, and you're just going to get so hungry thinking about it. Anyways, let's go ahead and dive into the episode. Welcome to the show, Chelsea.
Hello, thank you for having me.
Of course. I'm looking forward to this conversation because I'm a big fan of direct mail, and I think there are some things we can leverage here that can help us all be able to perform to another level, right? Take us to our game to another echelon. But before we dive into all the fun stuff there, I want to get a chance to learn a little bit more about you. Tell us what you do right now, Chelsea.
Sure thing. So I am the co-owner of a company called Dom's Bake Shop, and I own it alongside my husband and two sisters. And we actually started in an interesting way because we didn't specifically begin our journey with direct mail being the focus of what we were doing. And as the years progressed, and really as less than years, but as time progressed and as we grew as a company, we started to discover kind of a space for ourselves to exist in that direct mail industry, or in that space for business and for sales. And that's something that we didn't perceive like on the outset, but it's also something that I think a lot of people aren't necessarily thinking about. We are so focused on email and email marketing and digital that direct mail has it isn't an old school way, but I think a lot of people forget that is actually very effective way to communicate with clients and prospects. But especially now that everyone has moved into an email world, this is a great way to use, direct mail is a great way to get the attention of people that you're trying to reach out to. And so we kind of found ourselves in that place when we shifted from being a cookie company to a gifting company. And that's where we discovered the power really of direct mail.
So let's talk about that journey. Like, yes. What happened? So you're a cookie, you provide cookies before. So tell me about the story there's a story back there, I can tell. And then I want to hear, how did that convert into the direct mail? And maybe give us some, we can go from there and go to some more pointers.
Absolutely. So in about 2014 or so is when I started dating my husband. And at that time, we didn't work together. He had his job, I had my job. Actually, his whole family had different jobs. But we basically had, when you go to meet the new boyfriend's family or the new girlfriend's family, you're getting to know everyone. And so my husband had come on a trip, like a kind of lake camping trip with my family. And his parents had sent us sent along a basket of just like cookies and brownies and things like that his father had made. And it was just a nice gesture, something that his dad who was retired, just liked to do as a hobby. Yeah. And he sent them, and of course, who doesn't love cookies or brownies or something? So of course they got the reaction that I think he hoped for, but they made really, really good cookies. And I think my husband was so used to that growing up that wasn't really, that reaction was of course appreciated, but I think his I kind of make jokes that like he's been calibrated differently because he's so used to really great cookies that he thinks it's normal. And so like, my family, of course, they're going to say these are great. And of course, he doesn't think anything of it, but they're very entrepreneurial. And they kept saying, you should sell them. You should sell them locally. We, come into our business and maybe just sell to employees as a vendor. A lot of companies do that. And so we kind of thought nothing of it. This was not something where we were switching to a new day job by any means, but we actually thought it might be kind of a fun side hobby type of thing for my husband's father, because he's retired, and it's like, why not like get to bake cookies? You get to talk to people, because when you don't realize like how much you lack human interaction when you're not going into work until you're not going into work anymore. So
Yeah.
he started just making them for fun. Totally. It was a very small cookie company. We sold individually packaged cookies at farmers markets or went into companies. And that was it was just a cookie focused company. And
Yeah.
Throughout that process, which was just very like in its infancy, my husband, who is an entrepreneur in his blood, like he's just hardwired that way. He also, when he'd come over to my parents' house, who owned a company, it was around the holidays, and he started to notice what I had just kind of become blind to, which was that around the holidays, you start to get holiday gifts from your clients and colleagues and partners and things like that. And my parents were no exception. So when we go over, they'd have all these holiday gifts from different partners. And because a business owner is busy, and because they have a lot of people to send gifts to, that often manifested in the way of a gift basket. So you'd go over to their house and they'd have 12 gift baskets up on the counter, which they're all nice, like don't get me wrong, but there's only so many pretzels you can have before you're like, okay, I'm going to take a break.
No more chocolate covered pretzels.
Right. So, I mean, a lot of people would say that's blasphemy. Of course, I will eat all of them, but you know how it is. And so, so we noticed this, and my husband, who was kind of, because he absolutely is passionate about building or scaling businesses, he naturally was thinking, maybe there's a space here. Maybe there's an opportunity for our product, which are cookies, to be an option in the gifting industry, but in a more meaningful way. And how can we change this or make an option that is convenient? Because I think that the reason that gift baskets are stacking up that way is that every business owner is extremely busy. So you're busy, I'm busy. We both have 50 people we have to send holiday gifts to. We both are trying to send meaningful things, but don't have the time to necessarily, especially during a busy season, to say, okay, how do I do 50 individualized gifts? What at the end of the day, it ends up being what's the easiest thing to send that's still nice, a kind gesture that they can have in their home around the holidays or whenever, and so gift baskets happen. So my husband and I worked to build the company alongside with his father, and then eventually his sister ended up taking on the baking. And we started to design a gifting concept that was personalized but still gourmet. So it still had that opportunity to share with people, to still connect with people. Maybe you're sending it to an office or you're sending it to somebody's home, but it still has a customized component. And that's where Noms came to be, living in the gifting sphere or in the direct mail sphere, is we have created our cookies that are individually packaged in customizable gift boxes that you can send with your logo. So like, for example, right here, this says Noms on it, but you could put the sales evangelist, you can put your recipient's company logo, you can put your name on it, whatever that is that you want. It is very easy to send. So it still has that convenience factor for the person sending it, who has 100 people to send it to. But it also is very meaningful to receive, because it has my name on it, or it has your logo on it, or it's etched into wood. Somebody took the time to do that. And so we have spent this time building our company to essentially do that work for you and make it look like you did the heavy lifting, but really we did it, and it's very convenient for you. And from that, our company has really changed and pivoted into a direct mail company almost specifically for business. And that isn't just the holidays. That's actually for sales prospecting, for getting people's attention when you can't get a call back or a response to an email because they need to sift through their inbox that has 30 other, marketing emails.
30,
And
that's it?
I mean, right? I was
30
trying to.
came in the past hour and a half
That's
for me.
yes. I was trying to just be easy on my soul a little bit, but yes, I mean, yes. If you don't go to sleep because when you wake up, it will be flooded. But it became a way for companies to, of course, send appreciation at the end of the year, and that's what's on everyone's minds maybe right now. But throughout the year, there are opportunities for in the sales funnel or through just nurturing a relationship that already exists, so client retention or referral gifting, that really helps create lasting relationships. And we've worked to create those options for our clients. So whether that's a huge gift box for the holidays or more of a small gift box that lands on someone's desk that says, "Hey, I'd love to meet over Zoom for cookies or meet for cookies over Zoom and talk about why our services, can help your company or why we have a solution to whatever problem that you're encountering." And so that's kind of where the kind of very high level version of how we got where we are.
So I'm curious. I mean, this is very fascinating too, and I think you hit on several major points. One, the idea of the email inbox being overrun right now, and I'm a big believer of taking advantage of creative ways. Two is the idea of being able to, if somebody give me a gift, it shows that they took the time to do that for me, which makes me feel that more. I guess I'm almost like indebted or at least obligated that I have to at least return that phone call or reply to your email when you send that email. So, but I'm curious to find out, tell me about what are some of because obviously you want to scale this, right? I mean, you can't you can, I'm sure, send it to every prospect, but how does some of your clients right now identify the people who are most relevant to, or the most likely to respond to send something like this to, so it can make sense for their sales team or for them individually?
Yeah, and I think that it probably depends on the company itself, because we have had we've had the gambit of ways that people have tried to prospect. So we have had people, I'm not going to call any names out, but hopefully they're not listening, but we have had people, send hundreds of gift boxes out to, the accounting team. And that's it. Like they had no idea. I think they were hoping it would land in the right hands, but they didn't know who those hands were. And so
Gotcha.
to me, that is a big issue because, well, of course, for us, we quickly learned that that is not the recommended way to do it, because there were a lot of calls because they're calling us. It says Nom's Bake Shop on it. They're calling us saying, "Who do you want me to give this to?" And of course, we don't know. And they're saying, the accounting team has 70 people. You've sent this to a movie studio. What do you want us to do with this? And so, of course, I think it's dependent, what you consider to be a warmer lead or where in the funnel you think it's appropriate depends probably on your company and the industry. But I think for gifting, especially, identifying who that person is rather than just blindly sending to a company and hoping that it lands in the right hands or that it impresses somebody is very challenging, because everybody's busy, and especially when it with us it's cookies. So of course, if they open the cookies and it gets to the wrong person, that person might be eating the cookies. But I think a company, if they've identified the decision maker or whom it is that they really need to connect with, and they know that it's going to get into their hands, that is the strongest approach to me. We are in a strange state of work right now. So we've also had people run into the trouble of direct mail when people are all working from home. And that's something that we're trying to learn as everyone else learns too. So one of the things that we've implemented is an address verification form. Of course, the downside to that is it's still email, But we
Yeah.
do also reach out. We have reached out on our clients' behalfs for bigger campaigns like this, where maybe they have 200 people they'd like to prospect, but they normally send it to their office. They know their name, they know who it is, but they don't know where to send it now. And they certainly don't want someone to get 6-month-old cookies later when they go back to work. So, so they've
Have all
employed
kind
us.
of ants around it and all that good stuff. Because it's
Yeah,
good
yeah,
cookies, so everybody
right.
wants to eat it, even the insect.
We find peanut butter and jelly does attract ants if you leave it out on the counter,
Uh,
but they are packaged. But who wants a stale cookie that's been
no.
sitting around for 6 months? So we have employed some different campaigns where we've reached out to those prospects and said, "Hi, I'm Chelsea with Nom's Bake Shop, and you've had a gift." Depending on who it is, we'll identify of course, the sender. So we can say Donald that has sent you a gift on him, and we just, given the state of work, we want to know where to send it. And a lot of people are very receptive to that because they understand what's going on, and they fill out the address verification form with their shipping address. We don't share any of their information. It says right on there, we're not interested in sending this list to anybody else so that people then can ship. It's just, we ship out the cookies, and then we give the sender the tracking information. And it doesn't have address, any information like that, but it
That's
says
smart.
it's arrived. And that way they can then do their follow-up. And so it's still a win-win there. And additionally, it's actually, to me, kind of an extra win-win in the prospecting game, because you now know the short list. It might, out of 200, it may only be 50, but if 50 of those people said, yes, I want this gift, and here's my address, and you can ship it, no, I already have 50 people engaged. They've already accepted my gift. I can do the follow-up with them, and I don't have to pay for 200 gifts that aren't actually going to go to the place that they need to go. So, we're still refining as we go and learning different things about tricks with open rate, for example, because it's email, that has to go with email marketing as well. Coming from us usually gets a higher response because it's a third party saying, you have a gift. I'm not trying to set up a meeting with you. I'm just trying to send you some cookies.
Yeah.
And additionally, actually, I don't remember what it was, but no. So I think that in itself has had a really good response. And then additionally, sending them from me. So I'm not sending an email that's through an automation platform. It's
From
basically,
your
it's the owner of
domain.
Nom's Bake Shop trying to send something. And then people are receptive because that's a human on the other end. And so we have seen success, but we're learning as we go and trying to refine that for our clients, so much so that we're actually going to be implementing that on our regular website. Right now, if you reach out to us, we can employ that and work with you on it. But pretty soon we'll have it on the website where you could go directly to getnoms.com and upload your list and say, this is the gift box that I want, I want this etched on the lid, I want their name, and here's the list, go. And then, and so that helps again with that convenience factor. But I know that the main focus for us is direct mail. I know we're all doing our best. So it's just kind of how can we pivot given the circumstances and grow from there.
Somebody's leery about doing this. They're concerned that, maybe it just won't give the same efficacy. Would you be willing to talk about maybe some of the conversion rates that you see right now? Like what percentage of let's talk about appointment set. Like, I'm not sure if your clients give you that detail, but if I go back to that same example, 50 of them, what is that ratio of, clearly that's 100%, because if you send it to 50 and they all accept it, say, I want a gift, that's great. So your open rate or your response rate probably is in the 90s, I imagine. But then as far as the appointments, do you have any ideas from that standpoint?
I do not, but you know what, that is something we're working on right now. So I will be sure to forward you. We're working on some case studies because this is so new. We've had some clients, like, just to be completely honest with you, we've had some clients have zero response. And that is, I believe, because they're not like, they're picking lists, so it's the same kind of cold list that you would have pulled that you might not have seen any results with in the past. But I do have some clients that and this again is industry dependent on what you think, like as far as is the juice worth the squeeze. A lot of software companies have just kept coming back. So we started, for example, with one software company, they reached out. We offered this as an opportunity to try out this address verification system. And not only did they keep running campaigns, I think I must have done maybe 6 campaigns for them, but then also because it's a very large software company, they have regional managers everywhere. And all of a sudden they started doing them. And then there were, maybe 8 or 9 team members that we were running all sorts of campaigns in different territories for. And the fact that they kept coming back to me spoke volumes that they felt like it was successful enough that even with software, obviously it's also different because depending on the solution, if you get 1 or 2 sales, it makes up for everything.
Totally.
So I don't know if that's speaking to what level of success, but they found the value to keep coming back. And so we've really seen a range. And I think it all goes back to how warm your leads are. But ultimately, I can't say to appointment set, I can't wait to give you that information though, because that for us is very powerful too. And we have engaged to try and get all the information so we can build out kind of like a case study of like, here's what we did, here are the results. But the people that have really employed this and used it in a meaningful way that was beyond just a cold list, they have come back several times, which I thought was very interesting. So I can't speak to the exact numbers yet, but I will get those to you when we get these case studies published.
No, that's great. And now we share some of our little things. And I'm curious, and this is my guesstimation. So guys, Chelsea didn't give me any numbers, of course, you just heard. But what I saw when we did a mini campaign, we sent out, it was even just a Starbucks gift card, and we had a postcard and handwritten note, and we sent it out. We were batting about a 70%. Obviously, there's some issues there with the verification, but we got the right people. So about 70-80% of people responding back. And then when we appointment set was about 60 to 70% of that was getting an appointment. I mean, and that's way better. Mm-hmm. Like if I send out 100 emails to cold prospects, it would make the numbers are not going to be that high at all. Right. And the other part to that too is it just takes a little bit more work. And I think from hearing you, I've had other guests talk about direct mail. The thing that I got from here is that the sales process. What part of that funnel of your sales process doesn't make the most sense? Is it going to be at the very beginning, or is it going to be, well, I reached out to Chelsea, she accepted my LinkedIn connection, and we sent an email, and I know she opened the email. Now maybe I can get to the next level. Let me call in, talk to the receptionist, get the direct information, send Chelsea a box of cookies. That may solidify it to say, yeah, those peanut butter cookies got her. Right. And then now, I land the appointment. And obviously there's cost, right? Your cost is going to say, what's the cost per lead? And if it is, you say you spend, whatever the number is, let's say X dollars, then what's that Y result? If I send the campaign that we had done, I think it was like around $14 per lead that we had done, but it's for one of our clients, and we were doing some outsourced biz dev for them. And their rate, the return was like ridiculous, like thousands of percentage, because they closed deals that were, I think they had over $150 annual recurring from just that simple campaign. So in the software space, so it works. Right. But again, it's just at the different stage of that process. I think that's the critical side.
Right, and I think you touched on a couple different things too. I think at the end of the day, and this goes with anything, whether you're talking about email marketing, whether you're talking about direct mail, whether you're talking about just business in general, it all comes down to knowing who your ideal client is and where your leads are, because you're correct. Like sending a box to somebody that's a cold lead might do nothing, because they might have no interest in anything, or it might or it might get the attention of a person that you're like, look, I've been trying to break through this email barrier. I am not getting it. I'm seeing that they're opening it. So they're opening it. I'm not getting it. Like, maybe I should try this, having it land on their desk and seeing what's happening. Additionally, there might be other companies or different clients where you find that this is after that, actual touch point and connection. Maybe you connected on LinkedIn, or you have an appointment set, and maybe it's a follow-up to the appointment. Maybe you already met you felt like it was good, but you wanted to really send something after, kind of just like when, they tell you to write a handwritten note after an
Back in
interview
the
and
days, yeah.
yeah, and just express that you're, interested. I mean, that is coming back, and that's coming back because people are like, whoa, this person took the time to take a pencil and write something, like, that just demonstrates
What?
it demonstrates how difficult it is to get people to do that, right? So the same with cookies or a gift or something like that, is it's that, oh, well, if they're doing this just as a follow-up, even with the meeting, like, what does that say about the way that they do business in general? Like, this is how they treat people. It's very, and I think there's something refreshing about that.
Mm.
And I think, of course, I'm biased and think cookies are great because it's something you get right then. But a Starbucks gift card, the same thing goes with that. That's the other thing that you touched on that I think is important too, is giving something. And even though there is like a underlying motivation of wanting to connect with this person ultimately, like we all know that,
Yeah.
it's not a pen that says your logo on it, that says like, it's a Starbucks gift card or cookies or whatever. And whether the cookies come in that box, and that box might have your logo, or it might have their logo, or it might have their name, like whatever you're doing, either way, it's something to be enjoyed that isn't just like tchotchkes. That's like, here's this stress ball that has my logo on it. Like, and so the Starbucks gift card thing, that is also, yes, it's an easy thing, but it's something that the person can literally just enjoy. It's
Yeah.
not, you get to enjoy this if you do this, or you get, there's no strings really attached, even though obviously there is that underlying, I should probably thank the person or call them or do, and so, I mean, it's silly to pretend like that's not why we're sending the
Yeah.
cookie,
I mean, I want to grab your attention. Come on, Chelsea. Here's some
but
cookies.
yes, but doing it in a little bit more of a meaningful way that isn't just something that is like, a slinky or something like that, it is very helpful. And then I think also the other part of that, and maybe this goes hand in hand with the Starbucks gift cards too, is like, what are you sending with that? So if I send this assortment of cookies and it has your logo on it, what does the message say inside? Because if it
Yeah.
says like, we're like undeniable sales force, like, please join us for the, if you're doing all this like buzzword selling, like in your gift message, the person is like almost going to be put off to even,
Yeah.
they might even pretend like they never got it. Like they might,
Yeah.
they might even say, you know what, I don't know
Take
where
these
that
cookies
is.
home to the kids, and then I
So
don't know what
weird. It
happened.
says it arrived. I can't find it. So, again, it all goes back to like how you're presenting it. And I think a lot of people try to get ahead of or jump the gun in a way and try to do this selling like before they even make the connection. And
Yeah.
I think that there's room when you do direct mail and you give something authentically. Like, here are some cookies I'd love for you to enjoy. I'd love to connect. That's it. You don't need to do the sales pitch. Nothing needs to be in there. It's just, I'd love to connect. People, I think, are very responsive to that type of, approach than they
Yeah.
are feeling like, okay, this is just like an email, except for now it's a printed card that has every word possible, like, to try to sell me. So I think that might be something also in regards to appointment set or things like that. If people are not careful with how they're, messaging their gift card too.
Chelsea, we're getting ready to wrap up here, but if there's one major piece of advice you'd like someone, a sales rep listening to this call, to take away from this call, what's that one major piece of advice you'd give them?
I would say, I think it sounds cliche, but just be authentic in your giving, because ultimately, we're all humans, and we're all, there's a human on the other side of this. And I think that we are in such especially now, but, we've always been in such a digital world as of late, that there is that connection missing. And to just give and just let people come to you, because ultimately people are attracted to an energy that is authentic and human. And I think that if you are that way when you are trying to connect with people, even if it is in a sales level, people are drawn to that, and they are more likely to be receptive and open to hearing what you have to say.
Love it, Chelsea. if folks out there want to get in touch with you, want to connect with you to learn a little bit more, how did they go about doing so?
Absolutely. So our website is getnoms.com. So like you give noms, you get noms, and on there you can look at our cookies, of course, and our different styles of gift boxes. You can even upload your logo or whatever kind of design that you may want and send directly on there. There's a contact form. So if you didn't have a design and you don't know or you have questions, we're always on there to help. And you can find us on Instagram at getnoms, so just like our URL, and there you can find inspiration of how other people are customizing their gift boxes or using them for holidays or sales prospecting or any of that.
Well, we absolutely love it, and we're grateful for your time today to come on a show. Thank you so much for the wisdom, and yeah, let's go get nom.
Yes, thank you very much. I really appreciate it, and I had a great time.
Thanks, Chelsea.
That was Chelsea Martin, and I would love for you to go connect with her and learn about some of the cool things they're doing over at Gnome. You can find links below as well as some of her contact information. And also you can learn about some of these things that she shared on this episode by just reaching out to her. And you should test some of her products as well. I recommend you do that. Again, go back down into our show notes, or you can find the information below. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts or any of the podcast directory, just click on the cover art, scroll down, and you'll see some of the information there as well. We got it there for you. Our team is doing some amazing jobs to put some succinct summary so you can get what you need and so you can go on with your day. I know you're going to switch and go listen to another show. So you love podcasts. So I appreciate you. We made it easy for you. As always, not only making it easy for you, not only bringing you folks like Chelsea and who are giving you these radically awesome, simple insights that you can take and apply to your business to see maximum growth. In addition to doing all of that, the reason why we're doing it because we care for you. I've been in your shoe. I am in your shoe. I want you to succeed. I want you to find more of those ideal customers. I want you to know what to say when you reach out to them. I want you to be able to close more deals. But most importantly, I want to challenge you each and every single day to go out and do big things. Thanks so much for watching. Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to watch this video today. If you enjoyed the content, I ask you to go ahead and hit that like button, that thumbs up at the bottom right-hand corner. Also, to make sure to subscribe if you haven't done so already. This way, we'll keep you up to date with all the latest sales strategies, latest tools, and things that are going to help you to not only find more prospects, but to close more deals. Thanks so much.